Imagine the relief of opening your phone and seeing a calm, organized picture of every dollar you earn, instead of a tangled mess of receipts, alerts, and unanswered questions. What if I told you that in just 8 minutes you could gain control over every cent you make without having to become a math wizard? The average American checks their bank account only once a month, and 63% say they're stressed about money. That stress can feel like a constant weight, but it doesn't have to be your reality. Stick with me, and I'll hand you a simple 3-step system that turned my $2,400 paycheck into a $10,000 emergency fund in just 12 months. Ready? I'm your guide, a former accountant turned financial freedom coach, and I've helped over 5,000 people break free from the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Today you'll learn the 4 pillars of personal finance: budgeting, debt management, saving, and investing, and walk away with a custom 30-day action plan you can start tonight. If this is resonating with you, smash that like button now. It tells the algorithm that we're on the right track. First, let's talk about budgeting and cash flow, because without a clear map of where your money goes, every other step is built on shaky ground. Most people think budgeting is a spreadsheet nightmare, a tedious chore that only numbers people can handle. The truth is, budgeting can be as simple as assigning every dollar a job before the month begins. I use a zero-based budget combined with the 50-30-20 rule. 50% of your income goes to essential needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings or debt repayment. Take an income of $3,500. 50% $1,750 covers rent, utilities, groceries, and transportation. 30% $1,500 covers dining out, streaming services, and hobbies. The remaining 20% $700 goes straight into your emergency fund or towards paying down high-interest debt. If you've ever felt budgeting is too hard, hit the like button now. It helps others who are stuck in the same place find this video. A quick tooltip: free apps like Mint or a simple Google Sheets template can automate the tracking for you. When I first applied the zero-based method, I discovered $400 was mysteriously disappearing each month on impulse coffee runs and unplanned subscriptions. By reassigning those dollars to the savings bucket, I started building a safety net without feeling deprived. Now, I want you to try a mini challenge right this second. Open your phone, pull up the list of your last 3 purchases, and write them down on a piece of paper. Categorize each one as a need, a want, or a savings contribution. You'll see patterns instantly, and that awareness is the first step toward taking control. Let me know in the comments what you discovered. Did you have more wants than you realized? Your feedback helps me shape future videos, so drop a quick note below. Next up, we'll dive into debt management, the second pillar that often feels like an endless uphill battle. But first, if this is opening your eyes to a clearer financial future, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. The journey ahead is packed with practical tactics that can transform your relationship with money, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Stay with me, because after we untangle debt, we'll move into saving strategies that turn small, consistent actions into a robust safety net. And finally, we'll explore investing basics that let your money work for you, not the other way around. Keep watching, and let's keep building that financial confidence together. Now, let's dive into debt management, the second pillar that often feels like an endless uphill battle. Most of us have at least one credit card balance or a lingering personal loan, and the interest that drips from those accounts can silently erode any progress you make elsewhere. The key is to turn that mountain into a series of manageable molehills by choosing a clear payoff strategy. 2 popular approaches dominate the conversation: the snowball method and the avalanche method. The snowball method focuses on eliminating the smallest balances first, regardless of interest rate. By knocking out a debt quickly, you generate a psychological win that fuels momentum. Picture a small snowball rolling down a hill, gathering size and speed as it clears each bump. The avalanche method, on the other hand, targets the highest interest balances first, minimizing the total amount of interest you pay over time. Think of a mountain of debt where you cut away the most dangerous peaks first, preventing further collapse. Which one is right for you? If you thrive on instant gratification and need that confidence boost, start with the snowball. List every debt, from the tiniest cafe card balance up to the larger student loan, and allocate any extra cash toward the smallest one while making minimum payments on the rest. Once that balance disappears, roll its payment amount into the next smallest debt, and repeat until you've cleared the whole list. If you're more analytical and want to save the most money in the long run, the avalanche is the smarter choice. Sort your debts by interest rate, pay the highest rate first, and then cascade the payments downward as each balance is eliminated. Here's a quick example to illustrate the difference. Imagine you earn a monthly net income of $3,000 and have 3 debts: a $500 credit card balance at 18%, a $1,000 student loan at 6%, and a $2,000 car loan at 4%. Using the snowball, you would attack the $500 balance first, paying it off in just a few weeks. Then move to the $1,000 loan, And finally, the car loan. Using the avalanche, you would throw every extra dollar at the credit card balance because it carries the highest rate, which also ends up being the smallest balance in this scenario. So in this particular case, both methods align. However, if the smallest balance carried a lower rate than a larger balance, the avalanche would save you more interest over the life of the debt. Now, for a mini challenge you can complete in the next minute. Grab a piece of paper and write down the name, balance, and interest rate of every debt you currently owe. Then highlight the one you'll target first, whether you're following snowball or avalanche. Seeing the numbers in front of you makes the plan tangible and sets the stage for action. Drop a quick comment below with the debt you chose to tackle first. And let's celebrate each other's commitment. With debt under control. The third pillar, saving, becomes far less daunting. Savings is the safety net that prevents you from falling back into the debt cycle when life throws a curve. The most common mistake is to treat saving as an afterthought, waiting until the end of the month to see what's left. Instead, make saving a non-negotiable line item in your budget, just like rent or groceries. A powerful technique is to automate the process. Set up an automatic transfer that moves a fixed amount from your checking account to a separate savings account each payday. Even if it's only $10 a week, consistency compounds over time. Choose an account that offers a competitive interest rate. Many online banks now provide high-yield savings options that outperform traditional brick-and-mortar institutions. If you can, aim to build an emergency fund equal to 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. This fund should be liquid, meaning you can access it quickly without penalties. But it should also be separate from your everyday spending account to reduce temptation. Another tip is to employ the pay-yourself-first mindset. When your paycheck arrives, immediately allocate a portion to savings before you even glance at your other bills. This mindset shift reframes saving as a priority, not a leftover. If you receive any extra cash tax, refunds, bonuses, or a side gig payout, consider directing a sizable chunk straight into your emergency fund or a specific savings goal, such as a down payment on a house or a future vacation. Let's put this into practice with a brief exercise. Think about one upcoming expense you're already planning for, whether it's a holiday trip, a new laptop, or a home repair. Estimate the total cost, then divide that number by the number of months you have until you need the money. That calculation gives you a monthly savings target. Write that target down, set up an automatic transfer for that amount, and watch your goal shrink month by month. Share your savings target in the comments. Hearing each other's goals creates a supportive community that keeps us all accountable. Finally, we arrive at the fourth pillar. Once you've built a solid budget, cleared high-interest debt, and established a reliable emergency fund, your money can start working harder for you. Investing might sound intimidating, but the core principle is simple. You buy a piece of an asset today, and over time, that asset grows in value, generating returns that exceed what you'd earn from a regular savings account. The most accessible entry point for beginners is low-cost index funds. These funds track a broad market index, such as the total stock market, and provide instant diversification across hundreds of companies. Because they are passively managed, the expense ratios are minimal, meaning more of your money stays invested. If you're unsure about picking individual stocks, an index fund is a safe, reliable way to capture market growth without needing to become a full-time analyst.